I asked FPL experts for their top transfer recommendations for game week 27, and this is what they came up with. Before we dive into today's video, I just want to say that we're trying to hit 5,000 subscribers on the channel before the end of the season. If you do want to help me hit that goal, then be sure to like, comment, and the main one being subscribe to help us hit that goal. Now, a lot of my experts did recommend Bournemouth players for this game week, and there is a very, very good reason for it. I think Bournemouth players should be at the top of your radar for transfers this week. They have arguably one of the best fixture runs I've seen in a long time in fantasy football. They've got Burnley, then they've got the double with Sheffield United and Luton. It's not only a double, it's absolutely fantastic with both fixtures being at home for the Cherries as well. So a great double there. Obviously no game in game week 29 at the moment, and it is looking like that one might not actually happen. It could happen, and that would make Bournemouth players even more better because, what, even more better? Even more delightful. Let's go with that. Even more delightful if they do feature in 29. But comments coming around from the Leicester manager, looks like they're going to heavily rotate. They're going to concentrate on the league and kind of dip out of the FA Cup. So it probably means that Bournemouth are probably just going to cruise through to the next round and not play Wolves in 29. But if you do free hit and then maybe go for after, you can easily keep the Bournemouth players. They've got Everton, Palace and Luton as well. So like I said, one of the best fixture runs coming up, a double game week and a potential game in game week 29. What is not to love? Obviously, my experts have identified 3 players. Now, we spoke about Solanke and Senesi in the transfer targets video. I said for me personally, Solanke is one of my top priorities. If you don't have him this week, go out and get the man because he's probably going to be a captain. And if you haven't played that triple captainship yet, you're probably going to want to play it on him in game week 28. 2 goals, 2 assists for him. Good underlying data to go with that as well. On penalties, he is Bournemouth's key danger man. He is the best player that they do have in that side. I wouldn't be surprised to see him move in the summer, but at the moment, he plays for Bournemouth. He's got a double game week coming up. I think if you're looking for a forward replacement and a potential captain for next week, I think Dom is your man. Senesi, I think, is a great shout as well. I brought him into my team for this week. I do prefer him over the other Bournemouth defenders. I just think he's got that little bit of attacking threat. 2 goals and 3 assists for him so far this season. 1 goal in his past 5 games as well. 4.5 million. I don't think you can go wrong for that price point. However, one of my experts did point out that he is on 8 yellow cards, so potentially if he gets to 10, he is going to obviously be suspended. So fingers crossed he behaves himself in that Bournemouth game, in the Burnley game, so he's definitely available for that double game week. But I think he is a very, very strong pick, and a hell of a lot of my experts were very fond of this man. Moving on to the final one. And this was mentioned by a few people and one of my friends at work. It is Zabarini? Sure, we'll go with whatever. Now, I'd never heard of this guy before taking a look. He has played 90 minutes throughout the course of Bournemouth season. He does not come off. He is there as a regular. So if you are looking for someone, maybe you're a little bit skeptical about Senesi picking up another yellow card, then he will be your man. He plays 90 minutes. He's 4.4 million, so a little bit cheaper. Maybe if budget constraints, I imagine Senesi's price is going to probably go up to 4.6, maybe even 4.7 million over the next couple days, especially, I think, if Bournemouth do play in game week 29, I think his price will increase dramatically. But for now, if you are looking for that cheaper alternative, he doesn't really have too much attacking threat, but plays consistently for 90 minutes, then the guy I butchered pronouncing is probably going to be your man. My experts were also very keen on Spurs assets, and I think, they might have a little bit of a case here. I was currently thinking Son, but I've maybe kind of rethought it after potentially taking a look at the fixtures. Now, in game week 27, they do take on Crystal Palace, and now on paper, before Roy Hodgson's departure, I think that would have been a great one. But then they put in quite a convincing performance against Burnley, managed to score 3 goals, managed to keep a clean sheet in the end as well. A little bit of help from VAR, but they did manage to keep it. Looking at the data as well, it did look like they dominated that game. Now, Burnley are pretty terrible. They are down the bottom for a reason. They are one of the worst teams in the league. So maybe Burnley just made the new manager look better, but I think that will boost their confidence. Obviously, a lot of Crystal Palace fans as well were quite encouraging about the new manager's performance as well and how the team kind of performed as a whole. So potentially this could be a little bit of a banana skin for Spurs. Then they have to go away to Villa Park in game week 28. A very, very difficult place to go. It seems like Villa have got that momentum, that little bit of juice, that little bit of flair back. Bailey's cooking. Obviously, Douglas Luiz is cooking. And of course, Ollie Watkins, head chef at Aston Villa. The boy is absolutely cooking up wonders for them this season. So I think the next two fixtures might be a little bit more difficult than people think for this Spurs side. After that though, I'm all for it. Fulham in game week 29, I think Son is probably going to be up there as one of the best captaincy shouts, depending obviously on all the FA Cup fixtures, which teams actually do feature that week. But I would imagine Son is probably going to be right up there as a potential captaincy option for that week. Then Luton in 30, West Ham, who are right down there for XG conceded, then Nottingham Forest as well, who did receive a drumming this weekend. So some pretty positive fixtures, I think, from 29 onwards. Now, I'm not saying Son isn't a bad player to go and pick up, or any of these players aren't bad to go and pick up. I just think we need to be a little bit more careful with this Crystal Palace kind of new manager bounce phase, then the Villa game, which is a really difficult game. So I think it could be worth potentially waiting until game week 29 to go and get the Spurs players like Son if you want on the free hit. So let's take a look at the players that have been recommended. Obviously, Son's data does look a little bit skewed. I think he's played 118 minutes over the past 5 game weeks, obviously coming back from the Asian Cup. And as you can see, not too much to write home about, but like I said, I think it's about 118 minutes he's played, so it's very difficult to judge him off that. But prior to going away for the Asian Cup, he was one of the key assets that a lot of people absolutely loved and adored. Like I said, he will be a very popular pick for captaincy in game week 29, and you know what, I can't really see past him as a potential option, to be honest. So I think he would probably be the one that I would be out kind of going to target. If I had KDB, I think Son would be the ideal replacement. The other two, on the other hand, Maddison and Richarlison, I'm not as keen. I think with the depth and quality that Spurs have in those attacking areas, I do feel like these two are a little bit like lesser assets to go and buy, a little bit less key. Like, I get the past 5 game weeks data's okay, but I don't think Maddison's really pulled up any trees since returning from injury. And, you know, he's not even on all set pieces. He's now sharing them with Pedro Porro. I think if he's fit, he definitely would be an option that I would be considering. I think he offers a lot more than both Maddison and Richarlison. Same goes with Richarlison. He doesn't usually see out full games. He usually comes off between the 70th and the 80th minute. Son back as well. We're going to have to see how they kind of work his position. Who's going to play where? Who's going to be shifted out onto the left? Is it going to be Son, making him a little bit of a less valuable asset? Or are they going to kind of move Richarlison around and then again take away his kind of potency in terms of front of goal? So I think Richarlison's time in a lot of people's teams is up. So if I was to go and buy a Spurs asset this week, I think there is only one man. It is going to be Son. If Ped Porro is fit, I think he could be a great option. But other than that, I probably wouldn't look at any of these other Spurs assets. Finishing up today's video, I actually wanted to take a little bit of a twist. One of my experts recommended Saka and said that they think he would be a great captain for this week. And it kind of got my brain thinking, why don't I just look at the best captains for this week? It's a very, very open field. A lot of high performing players with quality fixtures. Some of the bigger boys like Erling Haaland, a little bit of a difficult fixture for them, and the form not quite there. So I think there's definitely room this week to potentially go against the norm. Let's obviously start off with Ollie Watkins. He's against Luton away. He has been cooking, like I said, head chef over at Villa. 5 goals, 4 assists for him over the past 5 game weeks. It's now 29 goal contributions, I think, in 26 games, which is absolutely ridiculous stuff from Ollie Watkins. Now, we've seen throughout times this season that Luton away can be a little bit of a bogey team, but I think there's some room for exploitation here, because Luton seems to be playing this ridiculously high line. They got caught out against Manchester United. I think Villa could have an absolute field day at Luton away. Ollie Watkins is in the form of his life as well, continuing to pick up goals and assists. So I definitely think would be a candidate for the armband in my personal opinion. But I do think there might be better options. We're going to come on to them. Dominic Solanke's made it in here. Obviously, he's going to be a popular transfer in for most people. But the reason I've put him in here is because Burnley are terrible. They are struggling to pick up results. If Jordan Ayew can go and get a goal and assist against Burnley, what could a top quality player like Dominic Solanke do? Obviously, we spoke about him in the previous section. 2 goals, 2 assists for him over the past 5 game weeks. He is on penalties, which is obviously a big bonus over what Watkins has, but you know, Watkins seems to still be just ticking along nicely. But I definitely think with Burnley's poor form and their defensive numbers at the moment being absolutely shambolic, I can't see why that, you know, Dominic Solanke, you're going to bring him in. why not maybe gamble on the armband as well 2 weeks in a row, see what Dominic Solanke can produce against arguably the second worst team in the league outside of Sheffield United. Maybe it's worth that little bit of a gamble. Let me know what you think about Dominic Solanke as a potential captaincy option in the comments. Right, moving on to our third option, and it is going to be Erling Haaland. I feel if you like just plain ham sandwiches or just plain cheese with ready salted crisps and a water, this is probably going to be a captain this week. Manchester United at home. It's a little bit of a difficult one because I don't think City are fluid at the moment. They don't look coherent. They don't just seem to be City, but they'll still probably go and win this game. United as well, that Fulham performance was dreadful. Large parts of that game, they were just outplayed and Fulham just knocked it around the park. It very easily could be one of those games where Erling Haaland just turns it on and absolutely slaps. He's definitely got that capability, and as you can see over the past 5 game weeks, he's not even been doing that bad. 3 goals and 2 assists. Obviously the Bournemouth performance, just an assist. I think this is probably why the narrative has changed around captaincy, because Haaland hasn't quite been hitting up the hypes as other players have been doing over the past few weeks, and if you've gone against him, you've kind of been rewarded over the past few weeks. But is this trend going to continue? I can't quite see it. I think he is going to get himself a mega haul at some point. Maybe Manchester United could be it. This could be the start of their downfall again. They've had that really good uptick in form. Then they've played Fulham. How are they going to respond to that one? It could be one where they just go and win the derby, or they could get absolutely battered by Manchester City. I think Haaland could be still a great captaincy option. He's always up there. He's always in contention for goals and assists as well. So I still think he's a great captaincy shout. If you're a little bit unsure, maybe you don't feel too confident in the other players I'm recommending, just stick it on Haaland. He's probably still going to do something. My current captain for this week is going to be Bukayo Saka. He is on fire, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely steamrolling the league at the moment. 7 goals, 0 assists for him. Good underlying data as well. The highest point scoring player on this list. I'm so glad I brought him in a few weeks ago, or my rank would have been mudded. Sheffield United away for him. They are the worst team. It seems like it's all starting to fall apart. Players fighting with each other. Arsenal's past 5 games as well, they are killing it. They're putting teams to the sword, absolutely demolishing them. The XG that they're getting, the XG conceded they're getting as well, they seem to be playing like champions. They're playing like the best team in the league at the right time, picking up very positive performances and results, and it does look like Saka has got his penalties back. So that's why for me, he is currently holding the armband, and definitely a great player to go and put the armband on this week. The final one is going to be Son, but I feel like I kind of ruled him out in the last section. Again, probably going to be a very popular pick that most people do go for this week, but I think with him kind of unsure of his position, unsure of his minutes as well after the Asian Cup, and potentially a new manager bounce for Crystal Palace, I don't think he is potentially worth looking at. I think the other 4 all outscore him this game week. Before we finish up, I just want to say a huge thank you to everybody that was involved in today's video. Like I said, if you want to get involved with these videos in the future, go to the link in the description. There'll be a link that will take you to my Twitter. Follow me on there, and next time I put one of these tweets out, all you have to do is reply underneath it, and you can get yourself a little shout out like this. Like I said, we are also trying to hit 5,000 subscribers by the end of the season. We're absolutely steamrolling it at the moment, so thank you for all your support. But like I said, we do want to hit that 5k, so do subscribe if you do enjoy any of the content. But thank you very much for watching today, ladies and gentlemen, and good luck this game week.